Okay, so let's continue the discussion that we started yesterday. We had introduction to the streams and readers yesterday, and then this is how we do it. So streams actually they belong to a package called Java.io. See here, there are so many classes. We will look at the hierarchy as well, but we'll start with a sample. Okay, so what we have is what we will try to do is that there are two different things in Java: streams and readers. Streams is to deal the data with in terms of byte by byte or binary format. Readers is about characters. So streams is always about a stream of bytes or a flow. It's like a stream is nothing but you have a river, a water flows, okay, and anything can go in the water, okay, but whereas readers and writers is more about characters, okay. Only when we are using readers writers, you only read the character data, and when you are using streams, you read any data. It could be character or it could be we don't really care about what type of data it is. Essentially it is about that. Now, but to start with, we will write, input is reading, output is writing. As a simple notation. Input is to read the data and output is to write it. So let's start with, let's create a file. So how I'm doing, I'm using streams, file, output stream, file output stream. I'm giving object name, file output stream, and say equal to new file output stream, and I'm giving file name. This is the first time I'm giving, and you can see that there are other options available as well. We have a file object, a file descriptor, and there are other things as well. You give a file and the mode that you want to start with, but we'll discuss that little later. So right now, every time I run this program, a file gets created, or if the file exists already, it is going to refresh the file content. In the sense, it will not going to append this sample, such as it will not append. But if I use there is a way to append to the existing file as well. Now, what I'm doing is I'm just writing file output stream dot write, and this particular selector's text is actually a string, but what the write method takes is bytes, an array of bytes. So I did string dot get bytes, because streams do not know anything about characters, strings. So I need to give it as bytes. So that is the reason I am actually writing couple of lines. Okay, and once you're done with your writing, you need to close the file. File output stream, so that it will be clean. Otherwise, if someone is trying to delete the file, it will say file is in use. You'll get that error. So to be on the cleaner side, what we do is whatever you open, you need to close it. Okay, so file output stream dot close will close whatever writing operation you are doing. If you try to write after this, you will get exception. If you write this here, it will throw exception because the stream is closed. Writer error. It says Java IO exception. And here actually, because I did a throws exception, you are not seeing too much of exceptions, but otherwise, let me say add throws, file not found, and this add throws declaration. Okay, fine. IO exception is the parent class for file not found. That's the reason it's actually taking only IO exception here. Okay, so now we saw that once you close the file handle, you cannot write again. Okay, and now what is the other thing that we need to do? Now we wrote a file using file output stream. file out. This basically like everything is about some classes and objects. When you learn something new in Java, it's only about different type of classes, different set of classes, how we need to use them, and what is the logic or purpose behind it. Okay, let me remove this. Okay, so now till now what I did is I wrote something to a file, and let me read that data. And when I use streams again, it will you will get bits byte by byte, and that's what I'm doing here. What you need to do is I'm saying byte b, I declared byte b equal to byte of file input stream reads a byte of data. Okay, and read file input stream dot read, and you see the Java documentation here. Reads a byte of data from this input stream. This method blocks if no input is yet available. It says that if there is no input available, it will be blocking. It's a blocking IO. Then it returns next, when you say dot read, generally it will read next byte it has to read. And since if file is fresh, you started, just, first line, it will read the first byte. This one it will read the first byte. But next subsequently I'm doing again read. So what it will do, every time I read, I use the read, I call a read method. It will read next available byte. And suppose if we reach the end of the file, it will return me -1. It will return me -1. So what I will do is I'll check for -1, and I'm printing, I'm using a while loop. While b not equal to -1. I'm saying b equal to byte of b, and actually I'm printing that byte into the console, and the output that you will see is you will see them, the bytes values get printed here. You don't understand much, but as I mentioned to you, when you are dealing with bytes, it is not character based data. Though I wrote character based data here, I wrote character based data into the file. Okay, I wrote character based data into the file. Streams do not really care what type of data it is. They only know, okay, I'm getting some data byte by byte, and I need, if someone asks me to read the data, I'll give you byte by byte, or maybe a byte array if you're using, based on the type of your output stream class or input stream class. Okay. So this is about, the streams. When you are dealing with input stream and output stream, I have just shown you how it works for a file input stream and file output stream. There are so many different type of input streams. We will look at those class hierarchy. But then on the other side, if you look at readers and writers, now let us look at this. I'm saying input stream reader equal to new input stream reader, and actually this needs another object called if readers and writers always work with the streams again. They are kind of wrappers on top of streams, and this guy needs, say, I can write the same line in two different ways. Readers and writers, they always need, they need streams again. So what I need is, in the constructor, they take the particular stream that they need to read, and whereas streams read the data, please pay attention, streams read the data in the form of bytes, and what readers do is they convert that into characters. They try to convert that into characters, and when we read from stream, reader, when I read using a reader class, I get only character. Okay, maybe that Java, in Java, character is actually it takes 2 bytes of memory, so it will read 2 bytes from the, see, when I say reader dot read, it is reading 2 bytes from the corresponding stream and giving me the final value, and that it shows as if it is a int. It returns an int value, but such as that holds character, so I can do a typecasting, and I'm printing it. I'm reading one value here, see here, reader dot read, and I'm taking that into char value int, and then I'm saying while char value not equal to -1, meaning I'm reading character by character from the input stream, but as characters, reader, where am I reading? I'm using reader only to read the data. Here I'm reading first value, and then I'm saying reader dot read and putting this into a while loop and saying char value not equal to -1, right? So now here what I did is I try to print system.out.println, converting the whatever read and printing it, then I'm continuing to read again, so that this continues that while loop until the end of the file is reached, Now, as usual, what we need to do, we need to close your stream and reader. First close the reader, and then you try to close file input stream reader, file input stream dot close. But this always we should prefer to do it in a little different approach. What we need to do is have everything into, say suppose have this block catch IO exception. Yeah, so you can remove this portion, let that be there, and within the catch you want to do an exception handling. For now I'll leave it like this, and then finally and I prefer to do this in finally block. And what is this? Cannot resolve this value. Just to fix the references, what I will do is I'll push this into the declarations above this block, because yes, now see, readers may not have been initialized. Let me say equal to null. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm putting my statements into a try catch. Okay, and in the catch you can do some handling. Here I'm just printing on the using print stack trace, and then I'm putting something in the finally block. What is the advantage of finally block? Why do we need it? Please help me.
It's the end of the, we cannot create something.
Sorry, you cannot? Finally block we discussed about in the exception handling, that finally is about doing something at the end of it. Whether there is an exception or not, this block is going to be executed. Finally block will get executed. So in other case, suppose if I put, if I try to do it after, if I try to do that, here close. Now what happens is that, suppose by chance if there is an exception before this line, if there is any exception in this execution, this line will never be executed. this line will be never executed, because it will, suppose if there is an exception and this line, in this line, then it will exit from that moment and it will go to the catch block. It will go to the catch block. So it is, this line will never get executed. So you will have some file pointer, file reference open, and if someone is trying to do some changes to it, you may get exception. Okay, or you are trying to delete from the physical file, then it may not work. It will say that file is in use. So to avoid that kind of issues about file access, what we need to do is you need to write, you need to try to close those things in a finally block. Finally block. Clear? Finally block gets executed every time, whether there is exception or not. This is guaranteed that it will work. That is the reason I am actually mentioning that here. Okay. Similarly, now this what I am doing here is I am reading character by character. Okay, I am reading character by character. Now, how about reading in a line by line approach? To read from line by line, what we can use is something called buffer reader. Buffered reader is a class that reads, when it will actually use an input stream. If you see here, you have an input stream reader. What input stream reader will do? It will read characters. And see here, look at the description. An input stream reader is a bridge from byte streams to character streams. It reads the bytes and decodes them into characters using a specified char set. The char set used, it may be specified by the name or may be given explicitly, or the platform default char set may be accepted. Don't worry about the char set thing for now. Each invocation of one of the input stream readers read methods may cause one or more bytes to be read from the underlying input stream. To enable the efficient conversion of bytes to character, more bytes may be read ahead from the underlying streams than necessary to satisfy the current read operation. Well, let's not worry too much about the other details. See, the essence is that an input stream reader is a bridge from byte stream to character stream. This is what I was telling. It will read byte and convert into, it will read the bytes and convert into characters. And readers and writers, remember the difference between streams and readers and writers. When I say streams, input stream or output stream. Okay, input is always to read and output is always to write, either it is reader or stream. Now if you look at streams, it is only binary data, means byte-wise data. Now, if you're thinking about readers and writers, we always think in terms of characters. But the funny thing or interesting thing here is that readers or writers always use the corresponding stream. Readers or writers are wrappers, or they decorate in terms of, there is a design pattern called decorator. I'll discuss that maybe in the some class. But basically what they do is, readers and writers, basically they take corresponding or associated stream and then they on top of it they work. If file input stream knows only how to read bytes from the file, then my input stream reader, which takes the file input stream here, see here, and here I convert that, the way I read it is that it actually like, or maybe, yeah, this is fine, and this actually reads character. Reader, where it converts the bytes into characters and it will give me a character. That is the reason I am able to print these values. Now this is about input stream reader. Look at this complete thing. Input stream reader, I am reading in terms of characters. And the buffer reader, if you look at this thing, buffer reader is about reading certain set of characters or maybe a line at one go. Means it actually uses, it is a wrapper on top of input stream reader. What it will do is, it will read from, it needs, actually like, this line is an interesting thing. You need to understand this line. Otherwise, many times people just mark these lines and then they get confused. Okay, buffer reader needs an input stream. buffer reader needs an input stream, okay, and input stream internally needs file input stream or some other input stream reader. So this needs, if I can write the same line in two different ways. Input stream, no, sorry, input stream reader, say reader equal to, and I say duplicate local variable. Okay. Okay, I use the same variable name above. Okay, so basically byte buffer reader needs a reader object which can read character by character, and buffer reader will actually read it will use the reader, regular reader, input stream reader, and it will try to buffer, it will read more characters at one go, and it has method called, it has some methods, and one of the method is read line. And here I read line by line, not character by character. What I'm doing, I declared a string variable, string line message. I just the variable name, and I'm saying line message equal to buffer reader. I actually wrote a couple of statements into a single statement. Line message equal to buffer reader dot read line, and then I'm saying whether this line message is not equal to null or not, because end of the file when you use buffer reader, now here the read line method will return null if we reach end of the file. If now there is no more data, then you will get null. So that you can only print, you can close the program the moment your reading is done, file complete reading is done, then you can close it. And for this purpose we use this null check. Okay, in other case what would you do, we say that when you are using a reader or stream, and basically you get a -1, but buffer reader, here I'm checking for null. Okay, this is basically like did you get the buffer reader concept? Buffer reader is a wrapper on top of a regular reader, and a reader is a wrapper on top of what? Stream. And this is the little bit of if you understand this logic, then you're there, you know how to use it. And rest of the things, how many methods are there in each stream and all that, that's pretty much you can do it without any problem. Any questions, Srikanth, Suji?
No.
Is it clear, or like you want me? Because maybe I'm a little rushing. I'll explain the diagrams and I'll show you the class hierarchy. But streams is as long as you understand that streams are for binary data or bitewise data, and readers writers are for character based data. So if you understand that logic, then it is actually easy for you to understand rest of the things. So now let me show you.
Buffer reader.
Sorry?
Buffer reader means whatever we are reading the data, it will store in the buffer. After that, we will read that. Like that.
Internally, it will do that. Internally it will do. But benefit that you get with buffer reader is that you get chunk of data at once. Means I get a line of data, line text, one complete line in one read.
Okay.
I get one line, one complete text, one complete line text in one single line. One single call. If I see that, the difference is that here this while loop gets looped only two times, because there are two lines there. There are only two lines, right? Whereas this while loop gets repeated for every character. We can actually try that out. because I read it once, so I say that it's char count plus number of characters, right? Okay. Now let's have one variable here, int line count 0. In this case, I did not read anything before. It is in the while loop only. So what I'll do is a line count plus line count. Let's see that difference. See here, number of characters read is 68. Number of characters read is 68. In case of an input stream reader, that 68 times the while loop has executed. Now, number of lines read is 2. In case when I use the buffer reader, what happened? It reduced my individual reads and it is more comfortable for me because I don't really care, character by character. I am not learning, I am not in the KG student. Rather, I need, I need to understand the data only. I need to read line by line. When you think that, then you need, buffer reader is the way to go. Clear?
Yep.
Yeah. And just to increase the readability, I just included yeah. So number of lines read is number of characters read, number of lines, using buffered reader to read the data and using the reader to read the data. So this is at the outset. This is at the outset readers and writers, and I also try to attach some of the images, and let's zoom it. Then IO class input stream. Yep. Let's see how this hierarchy is there. If you look at basic class in the within this hierarchy is called input stream. So basic this is the top level class input stream, and that has file input stream. We used file input stream. File input stream is to read the content from a file in a byte by byte approach. Now look at this. How many methods are there in the input stream class? If you look at int available in void close, basic input stream class, a class called input stream, it has these methods. Read, you can read 1 byte, or you can read number of bytes. You can even read number of bytes. There is this method. You look at this. Read byte array. You can read a byte array at one go. Or you can say byte array and say that how many bytes you want to read. In this case, I think maybe it's a complete line, or let me figure it out. Streams, and you have let me see, file input, file in stream dot read, and this what it will do, reads up to the length bytes, and what it will do, up to okay, reads up to b dot length bytes of data from an array of this method belongs. Okay. So when I declare a byte array, so this one, how it works is, let me, so it needs a byte, okay, I say byte array. So when I say byte array b and my say some variable byte array, I just declare that variable name equal to new byte of, so suppose if I say 100, and if I say read and I say my byte array, when I say this, you can do this, but when you do this, you are reading 100 bytes, because the what is the size of this variable, you declare that byte array size is 100, so it will try to read 100 bytes from the API, from the stream, input stream, file input stream. Okay, and let's go back. So otherwise you have another read method which actually takes, you give a byte array as a parameter and you say how many, from where to start. Offset means where to start and how many characters I need. Suppose if you want to read, how many bytes. If I want to read from 10th byte and I want to read maybe 30 bytes. From 10th byte, from the within the file or input stream, I want to read from 10th byte to till next 30 bytes, means till the 40th character. So I'll get, the difference. I mean, I'll be getting 30 bytes, but here basically I'm reading bytes. If you understand that logic, is fine. And then skip long n. I think this is to skip the next n number of bytes. Okay, so this is the basic input stream class you have, and then you have file input stream, then byte array input stream, piped input stream, sequence input stream. Actually these individual things will take some discussion. Everything we can discuss as well, but I would rather prefer we jump into the next set of topics and leave this as an assignment for you, and or you read about the individual class when you really require. Okay, but still I'll talk about certain things. I'll say piped input stream. Piped input stream is about a pipe. Pipe means, there is always an input and output. Suppose if I say, sorry, this will not help. Suppose if you have to treat this as a pipe, then we need one guy at the end of, there is one, there is one guy here and there is one guy on the other side. One guy gives the data, other guy reads the data. Okay, at same time this happens, so they both of them form a pipe kind of thing. It's like, you put a pipe to a motor and water comes in from there, so there is always an input, there is always an output. So that's the concept. So you have one writer and one reader together, or you have output stream, you have output stream to write and input stream to read. So when you have two different things of that sort, then you form piped input stream. Piped input stream, you have equivalent piped output stream as well. So both of them together, you using these classes, one, you can write data and read, and you can form a pipe. Otherwise there is no difference. It's a pretty much same thing. But you see here, connect, there is another method called connect. So an input stream gets connected with a output stream. This is an interesting class. Sequence input stream, I think I should be, I'll explain that. I'll just refer to the, I opened a web page, I'll explain that. I never used it. Rather, filter input stream is about if you have your data and you want to say basically like you want to filter the data, then filter input stream is required. Filtering, one example is buffered input stream. See here, meaning I want to actually read number of bytes at one go, then that on top of it, whatever your regular input stream is there, on top of it you want to do something on top of it, then we have filter input stream. And then some of the examples are extended classes for this are buffered input stream or pushback input stream. Pushback input stream, this is another interesting class, or data input stream. Okay, so these are the, and then one more thing is that how about, suppose the example that we have seen, are primarily like, in this case I'm writing some data, some string. Okay, or maybe you you can pretty much write, when you use streams, you can pretty much write an image or audio file or a video file, or you can play with, different type of file formats. But now, how about, I want to, many times you may require, you may have a Java object with you, and what you want to do is, I want to store this object into a file, and then next time you want to read that object from the file, and you want to retain all your object structure, all your data. Then this is the way to go, object input stream, and then you have equivalent of object output stream as well. Okay, so you have, this is the basic class hierarchy. I attach these images as well into the SVN. I'm going to check in now. Other thing that I want to readers, writers, demo, and I say I will input stream. Okay, now if I look at this, let us look at the reader part. I have a reader class. Earlier I looked at the stream. Now here it's the readers. You have the similar classes as streams, and file input stream reader, char array reader, string reader, piped reader, and filter reader, and buffered reader. You have line number reader, some interesting classes, and filter reader. So actually, like this input streams, what you need to really understand is what are these things and how to use it. And individual classes, I'll give you a link. If you, I can discuss the extension tomorrow. Rather, I would prefer to continue. I'll give you this link. Java IO. This is an interesting link. You can read this and get back to me with questions, please. This will save us some time. You explore, you write some programs, because I explained only few classes. and the basic fundamental behind the streams and readers writers concept. So I suggest that you get back to me, you practice, and let me know the questions. Let me know the questions if you have any, just and it will be easy for me to address, or otherwise I'll move on to next topic if that is okay for you. If you want me to take another class, I can take as well.